Hey, it's John and Mike from brew-news.com. I'm Mike, this is John. We've switched sides today.
It's crazy.
So we're brewing at your house. What are we doing today?
We're brewing a Russian Imperial Stout, RIS.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, I know.
Haven't you had trouble with big beers like that
I
before?
sure have, but today we're fixing them. Today we're going to have success.
And how are we doing that?
Okay, it's a reiterative mash. We're going to split the grain bill in half. We're going to mash one half, as I typically do, take all the runnings off of that, and then use the runnings as my mash liquor into my second portion of the grain bill, and we'll see how that goes. We'll go from a 1045 wort to mashing with that and hopefully get a 1090. We're looking at 1090 plus. That is the goal, a 1090 starting gravity for this Russian Imperial Stout.
All right, so a new approach to try to get a high gravity beer with a slightly smaller mash tun.
That's right.
And
if I had a bigger mash tun, this wouldn't be a problem.
Wouldn't be a problem. Too bad you didn't know anybody with a bigger mash tun. So we're gonna try to get some footage of moving liquids, moving grains, heating stuff, cooling. Well, maybe not cooling stuff.
Nah,
we're gonna get a bunch of little cute clips.
That's right.
In this video, hopefully, we will wrap it up with a report on what kind of pre-boil gravity we achieve.
We're looking for a pre-boil gravity of what? Maybe 1080?
Let's hope for better than 1080.
We're looking for a better than 1080. Here we go.
All right, cool. Stay with us. Okay, here we are. We're back. Where do we stand right now?
Okay, well, we were able to collect 4 gallons out of that first mash.
Yeah.
We got just over 2 gallons from the first runnings. We took 3 gallons of water and we sparged with that to get 4 full gallons.
And that you heated like you would normal sparge water, right?
Yep, up to like 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Yep. And then we rinsed the grains and brought our total wort level to 4 gallons.
4 gallons.
And then I took my mash tun, dispensed of the grains.
Yep. Put more grain in.
Put new grains in,
yep.
like the other half of the grain bill.
Yep.
And then as I was doing that, Mike heated up the worts to about 161, 163 degrees
to
Fahrenheit.
Your normal strike temp.
Right, and then we poured that all into the mash.
The new mash.
The new mash, into the new mash tun.
Yeah.
And that's what's mashing right now for another hour.
Okay, so your 2 grain bills, it's basically one big grain bill split in half.
Yeah.
What's the rough poundage per half?
11 and a half.
So 11 and a half. So we're doing 4 gallons and about 11 and a half pounds of grain.
Yep.
At the end of the sparge, what could have been our pre-boil.
Yep.
What was our gravity? We checked that gravity.
It was 1068.
1068-ish. Okay, great. So we were about 17 degrees bricks or Play-Doh, whatever.
Yep.
So that's great. So they're already actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Gravity-wise. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from 1068-ish.
Right.
In the next one. Now, granted, if we had sparged even more fully and gotten you to like 6.5, that'd probably be a little bit lower. And we left some sugar in that grain.
Sure.
Because we didn't do a traditional full-on sparge because we're trying to figure out how best to balance all the water in a reiterative mode, right?
Yeah.
So
well, we'll see. I mean, we are mashing with wort, which is kind of weird.
Yes.
Right? It's not water.
It's weird
wort.
to see it to be, especially a 1060 something stout wort going in, and it just looks stoutish and thick and good.
Yeah.
And you're putting in more grain. So it'll be interesting to see what we get the next time.
Agreed.
We'll probably want to get your sparge water up to for this next one. We're going to sparge ourselves all the way up to 8 gallons pre-boil, right?
Yep.
So we'll probably want to make sure that's nice and warm, just so we can get if it is even more viscous, we'll probably want to try to achieve that for a good runoff, right? Okay,
great.
I'm just thinking out loud.
That's good. The camera's on.
So that's where we're at. Are you hopeful? How are you feeling right now?
You know, I mean,
we don't have far to go to get to 1060, right?
Well, what we're trying to do for a pre-boil gravity, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I have to look at what it should be, but I'm hoping to be like over 1080.
I mean, it should be easy to grab another 20 points.
I would think so, but
all right, I don't want to jinx it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking good.
Things.
So we'll get a little more footage, and then we'll come back with the final pre-boil gravity numbers.
And that will be it.
All right.
We'll see if we're successful.
All right.
See you then.
Yes. Here we are. Okay, we're back. We're at the end. We've turned the camera around. We got a different backdrop, so you don't pick up the boil kettle in the background.
That's right.
Okay, so we're at the end. Where are we right now?
Okay, well, the entire contents of the wort, 7.5 gallons of wort, is now in the brew kettle. Now, how did we get there? We ran off the reinforced wort. We got off the first runnings, car going by, don't worry about that. The first runnings, we got 2.5 gallons of reinforced wort. That's wort that was mashed with wort. And we took a reading on the old refractometer and it was off the charts. It was like 30 plus bricks. So it was like 1.120 original gravity. That's great.
2.5 gallons, super heavy wort.
But just 2.5 gallons. So we wanted to get a boil size up to 7.5 gallons. So I had 6 gallons of water. I heated that to a strike temperature of 175 degrees, poured that on top of the grain bill, and then, you know, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then we rinsed and we just ran that out. And then we mixed that. We got 5 gallons of wort off of that and poured that all into the kettle to get to the 7.5 gallon batch size. We took a reading of that, and lo and behold, a little disappointing, a reading of 1060. 1060!
Yeah, 7.5 gallons at 1060.
So, what the plan is now is to boil it a lot, trying to get it down to a 5 gallon batch. And I think with the calculations of that, if we boil and evaporate that in an hour, then we should be at a 1090 original gravity.
So 7.5 gallons of 1060 wort boiled down to 5 gallons even, get you very close to the 1090 mark.
Right. We might have to boil longer than an hour, but we're going to get down to a 5 gallon batch.
So your disappointment,
I am disappointed,
stems from mainly the fact that you need to boil 2.5 gallons off. As opposed to, what is your normal, what are you normally boiling off? 1 gallon? 1.5 gallons?
Gallon and a half. Yeah.
Okay, because you usually collect 7.5 and you've got 6. And okay, so I get that, but I think the good news is we got to a place where we can get to the 1090 OG that we want to have, right? That was the goal, so we made it there.
1090 plus.
So what could we have done differently?
Maybe sparged up a little less on that, and then just had like a 6.5 gallon boil. Maybe that would have gotten us closer to the 1080 mark.
I wonder if we would have, if we sparged less, we may have, like, so the question is whether or not, did we over dilute?
Yeah, maybe.
With as much sparge as we put in. But if we sparge less, you also do, to some extent, lose some collection because of, that's how sparge works. So you would have rinsed less.
Yeah.
And maybe we would be at the right volume, but maybe only achieving a 1085 wort or something, right?
Should I have rinsed the entire grain bill?
Yeah.
Would that have helped?
So we can also go back to the first mash, and we debated whether or not we should have fully sparged that one. We sort of did a lighter sparge there. So we sacrificed some points from the first mash we didn't collect.
Yeah.
So we could have gone full, but we were more thinking about pulling 4 gallons that we would use for the next mash and not diluting it too much.
Right.
I guess we could have sparged and just held the extra that we wouldn't have mashed with. So I don't know. It's somewhere in this is the first time trying this. I think it definitely works. We went from like a 1060 something.
It was
on the first
1068,
mash, and we got up. We pushed 120. So so that sort of works. I think when I do the math and all the numbers, it all sort of does come together.
Just need to boil a lot. I think we just that last sparging run. I think we might have sparged a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I just have to boil it off and get to a higher. And then it may be a 90-minute boil, maybe longer. We'll get there. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. And if not, I got some coffee syrup to put in the last 15 minutes.
Which has got its own sugar.
It's got like 24 grams of sugar in it. No big deal.
So that'll help with the gravity
help,
if we get tired of boiling.
And bring some coffee to the party, which is good. Okay, well that's it. This is what we
gave
do.
It a go. So stay tuned for in the far future when we'll tasting video on this.
I think it's going to be special. Hopefully it'll be good.
I think we'll give some more thought to these reiterative mash processes.
Yeah. Well, gotta try it. So.
All right. I'm excited. You're disappointed, but I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I'll turn around once I have the first taste, and if it's great, then be like, hey, it was
good.
all worth it.
It was all good.
A long brew day. It was great.
All right.
All right. For John and Mike, brew-news.com. Brew on.
Cheers.